Although not often discussed as one of the most prominent figures during the advent of the Harlem Renaissance, Paul Robeson was an extremely diverse individual that had a significant impact on the image of minorities worldwide. Born in Princeton, New Jersey on April 9, 1898, his opinion of the injustices of society towards African Americans came early. His father was a former runaway slave turned hard-working preacher, so Robeson was raised with a parent who experienced the worst of their inequality. His mother died when he was merely 6 years old, so his father's experiences were the driving force in his development. Through his years in schooling, Robeson's diverse skill set showed as he succeeded at running track, playing baseball and football, acting, singing, and debating throughout his college years at Rutgers, as well as becoming valedictorian for his scholarly merit. Each one of these strengths carried on in his careers after college, turning Robeson into a true Renaissance man. After college, Paul Robeson pursued a career in football as an offensive tackle and end for the Akron Pros. At the same time, he attended law school where he married his wife, a chemistry student, Eslanda Cardozo Good. He graduated law school but decided to go into acting and singing instead as a result of the racism that came with being a lawyer. This was the beginning of the legend of Paul Robeson. His acting and singing careers were major successes as he had 300 records, appeared in several movies, and starred in popular Broadway plays such as Shakespeare's Othello and Taboo. Robeson was famous for his rich baritone voice and imposing physique, and many of his roles were as black stereotypes to reflect the racism of white society. An example of one of his roles was as an African warrior in Sander of the River in 1936. He even refused to sing before any segregated audiences. He received the Spring Garden Medal for Artistry in Song and Theater from the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1945. The white supremacy and racism in the United States at the time did get to him, and he left to Europe to search for an answer. While there, he befriended many radicals and became one himself, believing that Western capitalism was the root of poverty and inequality. The Soviet Union enlightened him in a way, and he was seduced into believing communism as the solution to the problems of American society. As a result of this visit, Robeson's style changed when he returned to America. Robeson began frequently using his music to spread his ideals and advance his political ideas. He did not advocate solely for the equality of African Americans, but of all cultures. His folk music of Africa, Asia, and Europe fought to create a multicultural coalition of working people, and he performed in all areas of cultures and in front of a plethora of groups of people, from Jewish garment workers to Mexican American miners. The downfall of Paul Robeson was much sadder than his glorious development, with his advocacy for communism came caution from the U.S. government, especially during the Cold War era, and he was outcasted in America. Nobody wanted to hire him, and he was forced to retire from an illness he procured. He lived out his life in isolation and eventually died on January 23, 1976. Looking back, his contributions outweighed his few mistakes in an anti-communist time period, and he should be hailed as a legendary contributor to the world of music, acting, and civil rights activism.